Hey guys, if you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, please know that help is available. Call now at 833-999-1877 or click the Info Addiction Help link on the top right corner of this video. Addiction specialists are available to offer support 24/7. Hey, welcome to the Hell Has an Exit podcast. I'm your host, Bryan Alzate. This show is not affiliated with any specific 12-step program. If you or a loved one is struggling with an addiction, please find a local 12-step meeting. If you believe you may need detox or drug treatment of any kind, please call 833-999-1877 to speak to a specialist. The show is sponsored by United Recovery Project, a state-of-the-art drug and alcohol rehab facility. You can visit our website at unitedrecoveryproject.com. Hey, welcome to Hell Has an Exit. I'm your host, Bryan Alzate, and today I have my boy, Kory. What's up, bro?
Hey, how are you, Bryan?
I'm good, bro. So it's crazy, bro. You hit me up and you're like, wow, you told me you have 6 years. And I was like, dude, I can't believe that. It's so wild.
Unbelievable.
You know what?
Goosebumps.
Yeah, so we were talking about the first Brotherman.
Yeah.
People don't call you Brotherman anymore?
No, I retired it.
You retired it?
I retired it.
Who started calling you Brotherman, K-Rod?
No, I think maybe like Jared and all those other people. Jared from the football team from Western and all them.
I think you're older than me, right?
Yeah, by like a year or two.
Okay.
33? What are you, 30,
I'm 32.
31?
I'm 32. Yeah, I think I'm a year younger than you, and you were a year younger than them.
Correct.
Right?
A year or two, yeah.
My first introduction to you was we were at Kevin's house. I remember like these girls were like, oh, he's so cute, da 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 da. And then you just got like so fucked up. You were in the bathtub, like throwing up or something. And the girls were like, what the fuck happened to him? And
I didn't know you were there.
Yeah, I was there.
That was a wild time.
You remember that?
Yeah, that was, how could I forget?
Yeah. And then you said I sold you weed or something?
Yeah, you sold me some bud.
Yeah.
I think that night I did like 28 shots.
Wow. Yeah, you got wasted. Yeah, you were probably ninth grade?
9th grade?
Something like that, yeah. Because that means I was in like probably 7th or 8th.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a wild time. I remember.
Which is funny because like when I tell people like, bro, in 7th grade, I was the plug.
Correct.
I was like selling like.
To everyone.
Yeah, seniors. Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about that like as we're adults now because like I have a lot of friends with kids that age and they're just totally normal.
It's insane. We started young, very young, 11, 12.
Davie.
Yeah, Davie. Western Indian Ridge. I was always by the strawberry farm.
Yeah.
On 420, my dad's birthday.
You know what was the saddest thing I've ever seen with you was I remember I was at a Dunkin' Donuts, and I don't know if you remember this. I probably had like 7 years clean, maybe 6 years clean, and I remember I bumped into you. Bro, you were so gone. You had like drugs coming out of your pocket. I think you had like
was on 84?
Yeah, do you remember this?
Lately.
Oh, dude, you were so gone. You were like falling over yourself.
I think the girl just called the cops on me that day.
Really?
Yeah, this girl kept calling the cops on me.
You were with Erin and she was like in a wheelchair?
I don't remember. Erin, I was with someone in a wheelchair?
Yeah, she passed away. I don't know if you know that.
No.
Yeah, I don't want to say her last name on the show, but I'll tell you later.
No, it's okay. I don't remember her.
Yeah,
I kind of remember running into you, but...
Yeah, I remember you just being so gone, and I was just like, man, for the grace of God, there goes I. No. And bro, I was there doing step work. I had my sponsees coming to meet me in a little bit, you know?
Big blur.
Yeah.
I was taking a lot of Xanax. That's probably.
Yeah, you were a big Xanax guy.
Always taking Xanax.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's.
You have anxiety?
Me? Right now?
No, I'm just saying in general.
Oh, of course. I think we all have anxiety. Major anxiety. But I mean, now today, I do speaking for a living, so which is crazy. I mean, I remember my buddy Bo brought me to...
Yeah, I remember you being so barred out for years, you couldn't talk much.
Couldn't. I thought I could.
You're like always mumbling.
No one wanted to talk to me anymore.
It's so crazy.
It's crazy. I went from a very popular person. I was at that party with you, and I just remember that I was naked in the tub, and all these girls were giving me a bath, and it was really bad. I think I was painted on, and everything was a bad night.
Yeah.
It was a real bad night over there.
But yeah, because it was so interesting, because like you were like, you know, this young, good-looking kid, and then you would just use and then fucking become a total nightmare.
It's crazy. Yeah, no, I remember the first time I tried Xanax was with all those kids, and I was in the back of the car with Jordan. I think Kevin was there, and I remember I stepped out of the car and I just kind of wobbled. It was like my first experience, like, wow, you know? Because I used to laugh at the kids that were doing that stuff. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, fucking losers, you know? And then all of a sudden there was I, hanging around all the older kids.
Yeah.
Jordan ended up having all the pharmacies.
Yeah.
then I ended up leaving Western to go to St. Thomas. And that even got worse because then I got around all the older kids, more money over there. And then my buddy's dad was the #1 pain management clinic to run South Florida. So
let's rewind. So what's like childhood like for you?
Childhood, I grew up in Plantation. I was born right up from Jacaranda, upstairs. Come from 4. Mom and dad still married today. We always grew up around partying, going to all the football games, University of Miami games, tailgating, drinking. And I remember from a young age that I always kind of wanted to be like my dad and drink like my dad. I remember the first time my dad let me drink a beer and smoke a cigarette like my uncle and smoke a cigar like him. And I think we ended up going to Grand Prix. And you remember Grand Prix. And my mom was out of town, and then the whole video was recorded. And I think that's really where it kind of started. I think I was, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10 years old. You know, we see 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. None of them are doing that.
Yeah, they're not drinking and smoking cigars.
No. So, but from an early age, that's what I was doing. And then I tried forever to get sober out here because I remember I asked you to be my sponsor when I was like 19, and I was going to the meeting at the West Broward Club for Marijuana Anonymous. And I was falling asleep there. I remember that one guy. You know who he is. I'll think of his name or whatever. But I remember he drove my car home from there, and I was falling. And that's when I met Carl over there. I met you and Carl a long time ago over there. And then I put everything together. And I remember I think I called you maybe for like 30 days. But I even think I remember when I was calling you, I was going to get some drugs. I just couldn't get sober, you know, and I stayed out here. My parents lost the whole family business. And then we were literally off of Jacaranda with no electricity and water. We were literally going down to the clubhouse to go over there and shower for a little while, which was crazy. Then we moved to the Broward Mall. We were living at the hotel over there for like a month and a half, 2 months by the Broward Mall at a hotel.
I've stayed there before. It's bad. It's not like, it's weird. You would think that it's nice over there. It's not.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah.
So I remember my brother ended up calling me. He's like, hey, mom and dad want to go to Fort Lauderdale. And so we ended up moving to Fort Lauderdale. And we were staying at a little hotel. Me, my brother, my mom and dad, my sisters were gone. There was 4 of us. Sisters were at their boyfriend's house. And it was just me, my mom, my dad, and my brother. But even before that, the cops were at my house pretty much. They all knew me. I get pulled over every time they see me. You know, just what happens when you use drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, you were always like blacked out.
Yeah, I was. For a long time, I couldn't stay sober no matter what. I went to meetings, been arrested numerous times. I don't even want to say how many times.
Yeah.
And I remember the one guy when he was bringing me up to the detox level on the 4th floor. He says, were you just here last week? And I said, yes, I was. He says, all right. I said, I don't know what, you know, I can't. You know, he's like, well, listen, once you get sick and tired of being tired, that's when you'll get tired. And even then I couldn't stop. And to rewind a little bit, when I was in Plantation, I remember I snuck out of the house. It was my birthday. We lost the company, so no one had jobs. I mean, it's no way you want to see your parents. You know, I grew up 4 kids. They did a great job, but alcohol runs in the family. It's a family disease. Same with drugs. You know, my biggest thing was drugs. You know, I'm part of the 12-step program. I just remember I snuck out of the house. I went to Hollywood. And I literally went back to this house where the guy pulled out the gun on me. And I was crazy enough to show up at his doorstep. He pulled it out on me just because I needed to go ahead and cop. And I copped that morning. And then later that night, I didn't have a license anymore. I didn't have a license for like 3 years. And I snuck out of the house, stole my parents' car, ended up in the Save-A-Lot parking lot in Hollywood. And, you know, I know this is live, so you have to be careful what you say. But at the same time, I was not alive.
Yeah.
And I was dead. And someone found me over there in the car, some lady.
Wow.
And I was blue in the Tahoe. And they couldn't open the car door because it was turned off. So they smashed the passenger window to get me out of there. And
how old are you at this time?
I was 25. And I actually ended up going to a rehab at 24 because my parents told me I needed to go ahead and I need help. They were always the ones trying to help me. And it's crazy how the entire story switches. Now I've been able to help them and be an example. That night, I went to the hospital after it killed me, and I got home 3 days later, and I ended up doing that same exact substance. The same one that killed me. And I did it a different way. I didn't use it the same way I used it before that killed me.
Yeah.
But that's just the insanity of it. And then we ended up, like I said, back to the Broward Mall. We moved to Fort Lauderdale. We were living in this hotel, and I remember I didn't have a car. My dad ended up big guy, 6'4", 240, you know, football player type of guy. fast, always looked up to him, scrappy guy. He was falling down. My mom's falling down. Everyone literally has eggs on their head. It was insane. And then here goes we got out of that place because we couldn't find a place to live. And we got lucky enough. One of my sister's boyfriends got us a place to stay. And you actually took me to that place. Remember on Sunrise by the Galleria Mall? You dropped me off there.
Maybe.
I don't remember. No. Long time. So, I went to the rehab at 24, got out, got about 2 months. Right after that, I went back to the same drug dealer's house. And I wanted to go ahead and look and laugh at everyone that was going there. Like, I was better than because I'm not using anymore.
Yeah, that's weird. A lot of drug addicts do that. I remember when I first got clean, I used to like ride around places I used to use with the windows down in case someone see me to be like, look at me, hang out with my using friends and be like, oh, I don't do that stuff anymore. A lot of ego, and it's like, bro, you have a weak clean. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like false pride and stupidity.
Emptiness.
Yeah.
And so, we ended up going over there where I think I was going to that one meeting. I forgot what meeting it was, but you ended up taking me home there and I ran into my buddy Bo. I don't know if you know Bo. Big guy, he's like 6'5" with tats. You know Bo, right? You met him before. And I remember him on Facebook and he was like posting all these pictures of cash and I had no cash and I had no job. So I asked him, I said, hey, can I work? He said, yeah, I'll pick you up at 5 a.m. So I said, all right, no problem. So, of course, I had my Xanax. I had all the stuff in there. So he picked me up at 5 a.m. I'm starting working on the ships, doing yacht transportation, which some of these guys, that are working over there. And I worked out there for like 1.5 years. And I'm working 19-hour days. But I remember I got off the ship and I asked Bo, I said, hey, you mind if I drink a couple beers? He's like, I don't give a fuck what you do. I'm like, and he, at that time, he had 9 months sober. And we used to use together. So I was looking at him like he was just the almighty, He ended up telling me I was going to die. And I remember I said, how dare you tell me I'm going to die? Meanwhile, I've already died. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's telling me I'm going to die.
Yeah, you get offended by it.
Yeah, so he brought me to a meeting in Fort Lauderdale, and that's pretty much when I tried to start getting sober. Right around 1.5 years, I think I relapsed like 7 times, going to meetings almost every day. I get like sober, and I go back out for 3-4 days.
What do you think it is in someone's like mental and spirit that like they just can't accumulate and put days together? You know what I mean? Like,
I think just the mental fog from the addiction of the drugs. I think, like you said, when you would see me, I would think I'd be talking, but I guess I wasn't even making sense.
Man, for a long time, you were like and I remember you'd be clean. You'd be clean like a couple months or something. You were just so fucked up from the drugs.
I get goosebumps, and then I kept relapsing. Then I ended up going to this one meeting called Victory. I don't know if you ever heard of it. You have heard of it? Yeah, so I went there and Bo brought me there and he's talking to everyone. At this time, he's about to pick up 1 year. I remember he's talking to everyone, like, how are you talking to everybody? Stop talking to everyone. I was so nervous. I was scared. He's talking to everyone. And I hadn't been able to talk to anyone sober in many, many years. Yeah. Unless I was always high for a very long time. Yeah. I remember even raising my hand. I'd raise my hand. I'd be so scared to raise my hand. But I raise it anyways because I'd feel better after. Yeah. And for like 1.5 years, I kept relapsing, but I didn't have a license. And then I got a new job doing this timeshare stuff. I remember I got this one check, and it was a nice check. I hadn't seen a check ever like that in my life. And I was like, wow. And I had just relapsed. And I said, I either can go ahead and I can go left or I can go right. And I can break the family chain and have some success here and be a whole new person. And I held on to that because at that point in time, we had no money at all. And that job, I stayed at that one job for close to right around 1.5 years. And I finally...
And you stayed clean?
For 15 months, okay. I was relapsing. I get 30 days, 90 days, 60 days, 120 days, back to 30. I never could get 6 months. And then finally, right after 15 months, I started staying sober again. I got my license, which was a big thing. I remember my dad at 27 years old, 26 years old, taking me to DMV to get my license. Wow. And I remember I hadn't drove in years, but I was also taking my car, driving reckless. I don't even need to get into all the stories, but I mean, high-speed chases. I remember I went on a high-speed chase and I got away. Went into Target, stole all the clothes, and walked out with the whole entire thing surrounded. But that was just my day to day. Every day was a movie for me, you know?
Yeah, I remember when I got clean, one of the things that I missed the most about using was car chases.
Car chases.
Because it's like, I would rob a lot of drug dealers when I was using. And like, I've been in like, probably like 6 real car chases that are like, 15-minute long car chases. And it was exciting, And I remember just like driving my car, my mom's car, and just feeling, and like boredom sinks in. You're just like, what am I going to do? Just go to a fucking job every day and drink this stale coffee.
Were the cops ever chasing you too?
No, I've never been chased by the cops.
I won't get into the story, but it was. I mean, every day, my day was like a movie. I didn't even believe that story existed until I had all the clothes that I stole, and they were Gator clothes, and I hate the Gators. I'm a UM fan, and I had them all in there in the wash and dryer room. I was a mess for a very long time. Everyone, they didn't think I was going to live like you seen.
It's interesting because I know that people are going to see this and be like, wow, I can't believe that kid got sober. Because like you are like a true testament of like, people have known you in like Davie that went to school with you that probably just seen you in and out. Like they probably run, like I would run into you, and you just be fucking not even there,
just 100%
gone.
For a long time. And then I ended up getting a bad name. No one wanted to talk to me. From a super popular kid to no one messed with me at all.
Yeah, that's my story too.
At all. And then I would do all the things that we do, and thank God to the 12-step program. It's done everything for me.
And that's like the point of the podcast, because I feel like so many people are like, they think the 12 steps are like weird or like corny or, because in Florida, we have a lot of young people. So there's people that listen to this podcast that live in Ohio, or, Indiana or something like small places where there's not like a big recovery community, or at least a young one. The podcast, is able to like show people like, look, man, like a lot of people do get clean and have fun, and, the program works.
No, I know. And I mean, I remember watching you forever from Facebook. I remember when you first were opening up a United Recovery Project. I congratulated you. I remember all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, you were that one person, you, Carl, were those people that I knew that had gotten sober. And then Bo came into my life, and thank God for him, because this guy would come to my house every time I'd relapse and just tell me, I love you, and try to get into my house. And I wouldn't let him in, and my dad let him in. My dad tells me about the story. He threw me over his shoulders and brought me into his car and brought me to a meeting. I mean, I flushed all my drugs and everything down the toilet so many times with people I didn't even know. Older people, because I ended up joining this other 12-step program. They're all the same to me. I just found a lot of love. All my friends, I remember for 3 years, all my friends were 56 years old.
Yeah.
And it was just me. And I remember Friday night, I go to this meeting, and I get out, and I was going home all by myself, But we ended up living in this house over there where you dropped me off in Fort Lauderdale by the Galleria for close to right around 17 months. And then I was able to work in that job. I relapsed that day that we got basically, I don't know if we got evicted, I'm pretty sure we did. And we moved to this other place. And I was able to put up the financial means for my family, my mom, my dad, my brother. And I was living upstairs. I'm my first time living by myself. I'm upstairs, they're downstairs. I have my own door. To me, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
But the house was still smelling like pot. I mean, it was not an easy scene to get, sober. And I remember people say all the time, like, oh, my parents or my brother. I mean, you can get sober 100,000%, even with all the chaos, because I did. And I won't even get in because I know who might even watch this. I mean, it was...
Yeah, I have a friend right now he was in California. He would make it 6 months and use, and 6 months and use, and 8 months and use. Brought him down to Florida. And he texted me last night, like, dude, I think I'm getting kicked out of Halfway. I just punched this kid in the face. And I was like, just don't use. And he's like, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? I'm like, bro, it don't matter if you sleep on a bench, just don't use. And he was like, the cops are here. They're escorting me out. Just don't use. And he'd be like, man, I fucked up. I don't know what to do. I was like, just don't use. He's like, I'm not going to use. 5 minutes later, he's like, I feel like using.
Did he use?
No, he didn't use.
Thank God.
And someone in the program picked him up, and he's like, I'm with so-and-so. I was like, thank God. And then he was like, I might go stay at this guy's house, but he's using. And I was like, bro, it would be better to stay under a bridge. You are
who you surround yourself with.
And I was like, dude, you getting kicked out of Halfway feeling like using, go stay with someone who's using is the dumbest thing I've ever even could think about. He stayed clean. So it's like a lot of times people think like they're going to get clean. It's going to be like this smooth road. It's like, man, so many fucked up things happen your first year. You just don't use, and then keep coming. That's all you learn your first year. Your first year, all you learn is keep coming.
Correct.
That's it.
You know, even with your parents and everyone, the people that raised you, you were always the problem. Now all of a sudden they're the problem. And I don't want to say they're the problem because they were the ones to bail me out of jail. You know, but even at that house by the Galleria Mall, I remember the cops, we got a new place. We're there. We're finally living in a nice neighborhood. We had a little bit of money to live there. And the cops are at the house within 3 weeks. Ambulance, everyone's on top of me trying to go ahead and like calm me down. I lived on my bicycle. I was on my bike everywhere I go. And I always tell everyone in the meeting, it wasn't even my bike. It was my dad's bike. I had nothing, you know? And I remember that I ended up working for a union job, and I slept out three days in a row on a cardboard box upstairs just so I knew I was safe. You know, no one wanted anything to do with me. And I remember I was even by the hospital right off of 84. And I got Baker acted for my first time. And I got out in the whole green jumpsuit. No one wanted to pick me up. I'm walking on 84 in a whole green jumpsuit, no shoes, nothing, in 100-degree weather. You know, and I remember my dad drove past me and he turned around and thank God he picked me up.
Wow.
You know, he's like, listen, he's like, we can't have you around anymore. You know, and that was when I ended up going to that one job pretty much right after I got Baker acted. But speeding things up, we moved by Orange right off of 84. Now I'm in Fort Lauderdale. And we lived out there we got evicted from the one place basically, and then I put up the means to go ahead and live over there. And I stayed sober there from day one of getting evicted for like 7 months until I just could not do it anymore. And I ended up, by the grace of God, I found a place in Victoria Park. This guy said, listen, you have no history, you have no credit, you have nothing. But I had some money in the bank to go ahead and pay 3 or 4 months to go ahead up front, which he wasn't used to. So he allowed me to go ahead and move in there. And I had nothing. And I remember that first day I went to City Furniture with my dear friend. I got like a couch and I got a bed. And slowly but surely, I worked that whole entire place I lived into like a home. And by that time, I was doing real good at my job. And then my buddy tried to get me in the home improvement space. And then I ended up getting in the home improvement space. And it's just crazy how like life is. Like,
and you were sober since then?
I've been sober since then.
Wow.
But I mean, it took a long time. You know, I passed a lot of the crazy stories out, you know, but it was one of the greatest gifts of my life. The biggest thing I believe that helped me was calling someone when I felt anger or was upset. You know, it takes all the power away from actually picking up the phone, you know, and calling someone and telling them how you feel. And most importantly, praying in the morning and praying at night. Because every time I relapsed, I didn't pray in the morning, you know. It's just, you know, I ended up getting that job with the home improvement company. And I don't even like to say it because I don't even care, but I was the number one guy over there out of 200 people. You know, how is that? Someone that literally had nothing. You know, I'm the number one guy there for 3 years in a row. And, you know, that's just the program. That's not everyone's story, but that was just like the gift God gave me. And I was open to receive it. Since then, I've been able to be an example for my family this entire time. And
how important was like doing service when you got sober?
Very important. I mean, I had a commitment. I had a home group. I was making coffee. I was before the meeting and after the meeting, every meeting. And I went to a meeting and called my sponsor every day for 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't miss.
Yeah, and that's what I try to explain to people, because I see people get 6 months and they're going to meetings 3 times a week. And I'm just like, bro, I didn't do that. Dude, I went every single day for probably 2 years. And I remember there were times where I would miss a meeting on Friday and be like, I need to go to 2 on Saturday.
Correct.
You know, and like, I didn't see it as like, oh, I went to my meeting today. I was like, oh, I'll go to another one, or let's go to a meeting in Miami. And I got to know so many people, and a lot of people go to recovery or go to meetings and like they hit their meeting and they go home. It's like, bro, you got to like get involved and dive in and get to know people and do service and go to this one and go to that one. And then you got to reach out to the newcomer and call the newcomer and pick up the newcomer. It's like, bro, when I had 5, 6, 7 years clean, even till today, like, you know, I have this guy that I'm sponsoring. He's brand new. It's like, it's exciting for me, you know, he's new. And, you know, I like taking people to meetings. And I remember when I first got clean, there was this guy, and he would show up to every meeting with like 5 newcomers. And he had years clean. And I remember just thinking like that's the coolest thing. Like, to me, that was like, you know, what a man did, you know?
Yeah. And I remember, you know, I didn't have anyone to pick me up. People always like, oh, I don't have a ride. I ran from the Galleria Mall to the 12-step house to make the meeting at the Nooners. And I mean, that was like my desire. I ran 7 miles just to get to the meeting because that's how desperate I was. And I always say I had the greatest gift of desperation. You know, I surrounded myself around all those people. I still surround myself with all those people. That is my entire life today. You know, the most beautiful thing in the world is just what God's given me to be able to go to meetings, help other people, have a home group, be connected, and I got so connected on the east side of town. And then I met a friend at the 12-step house. And then I ended up going to this west side group, a whole nother 200 friends I had, instant family. I just kept coming back no matter what. It didn't matter how many times I relapsed, no matter what. I remember sitting in the back room every time I relapsed and I kind of be joking around. And it wasn't really even funny, but I kept coming no matter what. We'll love you till you can love yourself, because I definitely didn't love myself. I hated the person in the mirror for a very long time. Just being here with you right now, it's like, I don't know if I wanted to go ahead and have it on live. I thought about it for a little bit. I was like, I wasn't even alive to be able to have the gift to come in here and see you like this. Like, I remember when, I think it was your sister that presented you with your 1-year medallion. Was that correct? Yeah, and mom was there, dad was there. Everyone was there.
Probably was like 18 months. 18 months or 2 years. I think my first year medallion, I think it was just me that went. I don't think my family was really like
you don't think so?
Going.
It might have been 18 months.
Might have been 18 months.
I could have, but either way, I just remember.
Maybe it was my sister at the PM Recovery?
No, it was at the West Broward Club.
Oh, yeah, West Broward Club, yeah.
Yeah, at the West Broward Club. And I remember, everyone, the judge would tell me to go to the meetings. People would tell me to go to the meetings. And then I always want to do Kory's way. It was always Kory's way. And Kory's way doesn't work, and I lost all my excuses. I was hopeless. People just picked me up. That's why you bringing people to meetings. I'll take people to meetings. I'll bring them to meetings. I'm all about doing service and helping the guy.
I was at a meeting last night.
You were at a meeting last night? It's the best thing ever.
Hey guys, if you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, please know that help is available. Call now at 833-999-1877 or click the Info Addiction Help link on the top right corner of this video. Addiction specialists are available to offer support 24/7.
Welcome to the Genesis House powered by the United Recovery Project. Located in sunny South Florida, we offer drug and alcohol addiction treatment as well as a major focus on dual diagnosis. Our addiction therapy programs include behavioral therapy, 12-step facilitation, psychotherapy, life skills training, and more. At our facility, you can expect a low client-to-staff ratio, daily group therapy, weekly one-on-one therapy sessions, and luxury amenities such as volleyball, basketball, pool, chiropractor, personal trainer, yoga, massage therapy, and more. Contact the United Recovery Project today and let's create a better tomorrow.
Even with 6 years, I picked up 6 years, and my sister was able to give me my 6-year medallion on Friday. And she just picked up 30 days, like I told
incredible.
It's like you never know who's going to come with you, and it's just, you just lead by example. I remember I was going through a hard time, and my sponsor told me, and I always had a sponsor no matter what, and a home group and a commitment. My sponsor always just told me it didn't matter how bad times were with the family and everything. He said, just lead by example. It's the most powerful thing you can do. So when I hear people going through it with their family, I said, you just lead by example, and don't pick up no matter what. And
yeah, it's crazy because, like, dude, I was a fuck up with my whole family, bro. Like, I remember, like, family meetings. What are we going to do with Bryan? Bryan's in, in trouble. We got to go get him. We got to pick him up. He got kicked out of school. And I was just constantly babied by the family, always bailed out. It's like today, it's like, my dad asked me for advice on what he should do with his life. And like, I've hired my dad at one point. There were so many years of my life where, like, I hated my father. And, like, I had so much judgment towards him. And it's like, now as an adult, like, I get to encourage him with what he wants to do. And I remember, like, we were driving the other day and he's like, man, you did so good for yourself. I lost everything. Like, my dad lost everything in 2008 with the real estate and the crash. My dad was down on himself in the car and he's like, I fucked up everything and I lost it all. And, I don't have anything to show for it. And I was like, Dad, look how much better you did than your dad.
Correct.
And he was like, yeah. I was like, dude, that's all we can ask for is that you do better than the generation before.
Correct.
And it's cool to be able to, like, lift up my dad and his spirits,
I got my dad, and it's crazy because I got my dad a job. I couldn't even hold a job. I got my dad a job, my mom a job. At one point in time, I think I got like 6 people a job, and they were all working for me at the same time because I always want to give back what was so freely given to me because I know I can't keep what I have unless I give it away, and that's the number one primary purpose is to give it away because you can't keep it, and to be present in my parents' life and my mom and dad and be able to help them, you know, and my brother and my sister. It's like, I couldn't help anybody for years. And what's crazy, I was at the Chick-fil-A, I was cheating on my diet, having an Oreo shake, and I seen the EMT there. And I've been wanting to go ahead and, you know, you're not always supposed to go ahead and, you belittle your service down if you go ahead and talk about it, you know, but I've been meaning to go ahead and buy them lunch, you know, or buy them dinner or whatever it was. And last time I seen them in somewhere, I didn't buy it to them. I felt bad, you know, so this time I said, I make it a point. It was kind of nerve wracking. I was like, hey guys, they're all up with me. You know, and they're like, no. And the guys, I was able to go ahead and take care of them because they saved my life, you know? And it's all about that, you know, just giving it back, you know? And that's why I think that I'm still here today doing so wonderful, because my life I'm super excited to wake up. I've never been more excited in my life. You know, my life is incredible. And I was able to go ahead and buy these condos by the water over there. And it's crazy because literally, and I can't believe you don't remember. It's fine though. You helped so many people. But I was in the back of the car and,
dropping you off?
Yeah, you're dropping me off. And literally from my balcony, I can see that same exact house where my first day sober was, where we all lived as a family. Well, not a whole family, but us four. And even when I was living somewhere else down in Flagler Village, I was able to look from my balcony at that victory meeting. Like God has a crazy way of showing me where I started.
It's crazy because I live right by the high school I got kicked out of like 100 times. So it's like, bro, every day I drive by my old high school. Not everyone like still lives in their town that they grew up in, but like I still do.
Of course.
And it's like, bro, when I drive around Davie, I still drive around the same, bro, my parents live 5 minutes away.
Of course.
And my parents lived in the same house for like 25 years. When I go to their house, like I think like, bro, I've smoked crack in this house 1,000 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, just driving around like gas stations or whatever. It's a surreal feeling, bro. I always tell people it's like living two lives.
Oh, definitely. You know, and it's like people always say, oh, I can't get sober. They got to do the geographical move. Like me and you both got sober right here with the same town, the same city that killed us.
Yeah.
And we're still here with a whole new life, a whole new purpose. You know?
I tell people all the time, like, bro, you could buy all like the workout shoes and the clothes or whatever. There's someone in prison right now getting fit off honey buns.
100%.
You know, just like doing nothing, just push-ups and pull-ups. And it's like when the will is great enough, like there's no circumstance that can take you out, you know?
You know, I'm thinking about my buddy Scott, one of my best friends. This gay guy was the nicest guy in the world. At first, I was kind of off. I didn't know. But he literally took me under his wing, showed me all his tactics, how to sell. He was like one of the best realtors in Las Olas. And he ended up, when I met him, like 2 years prior, I remember looking on the TV and he ran someone over on a GoPed. And for 7 years, we were best friends, and he went to trial. And he lost the trial because he ran someone over and killed him. And he's sitting there 15 years right now, and it's just... It could happen to anybody. One of us.
Yeah.
It's like so many times that I was drinking or driving or doing whatever I was doing that I could have...
Was he drinking?
Yes.
Wow.
You know, and it's just like in the denial phase, you know, it's like he had a huge case going on. So like, of course, I mean, I understand the game and the role he was playing, you know, but he's sitting in there right now. So like when I had my sponsee like come up with excuses and stuff, it's like these guys would do anything to come out here with a second chance, you know? But even then, sometimes they come out with a second chance, they still don't even want to go ahead and make right, you know?
Yeah, I tell people all the time, like, bro, there are people that are dead that can't get a white key tag right now. You know, I feel so bad because I have so many friends that they might not be like hardcore using, but they're not like in the program. I'm really trying not to be like a, you know, program thumper or like, you know, if you're not really taking care of yourself or really like focusing on like what you can do, it's like you could be doing good for 3-4 years and decide to use one time and you're dead. It's like, bro, one of my close childhood friends just passed away and the autopsy hasn't came back, but like we're all pretty sure that it was an overdose. He was that type of kid who he would use twice a year, once a year. And he wouldn't really talk about it. He would say, oh, I fucked up a couple months ago and just keep it moving. And it's like, dude, you can use once a year and 1 year. That's just that one time that you know, with fentanyl now, it's crazy, bro.
No, with the drugs now, I mean, literally you're gambling with your life. It's a flip of a coin, you know, literally. It's just a miracle to be able to even sit here. And it's like, there's so much stuff I could say, but just being able to be present and have like a life beyond my wildest dreams. You've seen me how I was for years. Everyone knew me, you know, back then. And it's crazy how like God literally took all those people that I thought were my friends and he replenished me with all new people. And it's like...
That's one of the hardest parts about getting clean is turning your back on your boys, is that you really feel like you're turning your back on people that were there for you and you feel like you're not going to get new friends.
Correct.
Because it's like no one wants to be around you. these friends are the only friends you know that you use with. And it really reminds me of like that picture of like a little kid holding a bear, and like Jesus is like grabbing it, and like he's got like a giant bear behind him. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Truly believe that like when you surrender, there is something bigger and better on the other side. And it might not be like a bigger truck or a bigger house, but it is something different and beyond what you can come up with right now.
Correct.
You know, that's like the whole point of like, you know, a higher power is that it sees around the corner when you only see the corner.
Of course.
You know?
You know, and I remember I had a couple close friends like my buddy Kyle and my buddy Paul that were my childhood friends, but I got to a point that I had no more friends.
Yeah.
No one wanted anything to do with me. So like friends, like I'd call people and people, they weren't my friends anymore, you know? And it's funny how I ran into someone driving in Victoria Park, and he was on this bike driving. I know he has a good life, and I'm not downplaying it or whatever. And I know he likes to party and do all this stuff still, but I was just like, he looked at me and I looked at him, and I talked to him through the window as I'm driving, and I like to get a coffee with him, but it's just crazy. Like, I'm not saying my life is better than his, but it's insane what happened to my life and where his life is. And it's all thanks to the 12-step program.
Man, one of my childhood friends sent me a news clipping from someone I grew up with who we used together for years. And bro, this kid was honor classes. We smoked crack together. You know, we sold pills together. I was using harder than him the whole time. He was telling me like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? You did everything like in 1 hour. Like, you're not going to save it for tomorrow. I was like, I was way worse than he was, you know, before I got clean. Dude, he's on the road at an intersection, you know, carrying a sign. And I drove by there to see if he was still there after the news clip. And he was, and like missing half his teeth. Bro, he's my age. He's 32, 33. And he looked like he was 40. I asked him if he wanted to get clean. He's like, I am clean. I'm on methadone.
They don't understand, you know.
And I remember asking, like, bro, do you want to go to a meeting? He was like, why would I need a meeting? And I'm just
the denial part.
I was like, bro, do you want to go to detox? He's like, detox from what? I don't know, the methadone, you know? And then I was like, you want to go to church? Because I know he's like really religious. You know, I was like, I'll go anywhere with you, bro. You want to get, asked him, you want to get dinner? You want to get coffee? You know, I'm not going to force you. You don't want to get clean? That's fine, bro. But like, can I just like talk to you? And
did he talk a little bit?
He talked a little bit like on the side of the road, but he didn't want to hang out or do anything.
I think it's the shame maybe, you know?
I think that they might think that I'm trying to like convince them to go to meetings, and I'm, you know, like, you know, when someone's super religious and they're like trying to like get you to believe in Jesus or something, like they think it's like that, you know, like culty
like
or something.
Yeah. Well, I remember even for years, I tried to go ahead and get sober, and, you know, I'd see you on Facebook and I'd see you getting all these years and stuff. And, you know, and I was clean or something for like 30 days, you know, and I was like, maybe there's another way. For me, there was only one way. There was no other way. It was a 12-step program, you know, and it's just like everyone else, you know, they want to go ahead and do their own self-will. You know, it's just like you say that people want to go ahead and they don't want to go to 3 meetings a week. It's always, oh, I got the job. I got to go to the job. I got to go to the gym. And they put everything in front of you.
Job, gym, girl.
Every time. The pink and the green. Every single time. And it's like, for me, someone told me if I put my recovery first, everything after that will be first class, you know? And I was like, I like that. I never really sat first class. I was like, I like that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just crazy, the willingness, the gift, you know, of desperation, just the willingness to just go ahead and just that hopeless feeling, the hatred and just hating yourself and looking at yourself in the mirror and just really not loving that person. It's like, that killed me for years, you know, and when I came into the 12
and then watching everyone progress.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And it's crazy though. It's like you say you watch everyone progress, but then if you go ahead and you take a couple steps back and you go into the 12-step program, yeah, everyone might be progressing, but if you're doing the right thing, you're not just going to go, you're going to go shoot straight vertically up. And that's literally what happened to us, which is unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. When people work the program, it's a vertical growth. It's vertical. It's crazy. And it's like, I've seen people get clean, but they don't get a sponsor. And then, you know, they don't work steps and like they don't do service. And it's just like their lives aren't horrible. They don't live their dreams. You know, like recovery is about living a life beyond anything you've ever imagined, you know? And I always tell my sponsees, like, bro, you can get clean and you can hang out in the back and you can just be clean. Or you can do the work and you can have the most incredible, kick-ass life you've ever believed you ever could have. You can impact other people. It's going to be the best high you've ever could imagine.
Ever.
You know?
Last night I was overlooking the water and stuff, and I'm dancing. I got engaged in November.
Oh,
You know,
congrats.
which is crazy. Like these things happen to us, you know. And it's just like I remember I used to pray to God to ask God to put a good woman in my life. But I ended up this was actually super powerful. I did the whole 11 months and 23 days, no relationships, no sex.
11 months?
11 months, 23 days.
Wow.
And my sponsor, and then my like grand sponsor, he's actually my sponsor now. He told me, he's like, I want you to go ahead and stay away from relationships and women. And I was like, these guys are 30 years older than me. I'm like, who the fuck are you? You know? But I ended up following that suggestion. And that was where I believe that I got the most growth. Because the codependency, I don't have any codependency that much. Maybe on some things, but I really can't go ahead and think of really what I have. Definitely not in a relationship. Definitely don't make my chick my higher power.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. I used to pray to God, and God put a beautiful woman in my life that's healthy for my recovery. I always find people, in the first year, they get in the new relationship. They start going on dates, and before you know it, they're off to the races. Yeah. Every single time. Like, I learned how to go back out and eat by myself, take myself out to dinner, buy myself my first outfit, buy myself my first pair of shoes. I think that's why I buy so many shoes, because I remember I had a picture I showed my buddy the other day. I think the shoes were like 3 years old. You know, and it's just like to be able to go ahead and be free and do what you want, like, and go through that process. I think you cut yourself short getting in relationships very quickly.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's like the speaker always says, like, nothing good ever happens fast. And it's like everything in my life that happened fast always ended up screwing me over in the long run. And my whole life I just looked for shortcuts. Always trying to find an easier, sillier way. And like, I was talking to my business partner the other day, and like, we just started a new business. And he's like, you know why I like this? Because it's fucking hard. He's like, I don't like doing anything that's easy, because if it's easy, anyone can do it. And he's like, bro, we only need to do things that are fucking really hard and that like seem impossible. And he's like, that's what we're going to do. And to me, it's like, you know, I tell people all the time, it's like, bro, when you're trying to make a decision, train yourself to do the harder thing. You know, when you're in halfway and your parents say, you know, hey, you can come home. What's harder?
Staying in
halfway. I was like, bro, do the harder thing. Always got to do the harder thing, because the harder thing is going to build that muscle in you.
Correct. And what are you going to do? You're going to go back to your parents' house?
Exactly.
You
bro.
know, it's like you're cutting out your growth.
Yeah, bro. And it's like, that's that same enabling bullshit that you got you here. You know what I mean?
This buddy of mine always says we always want, as, you know, alcoholics, addicts, you know, we always want, you know, 12-step program people, we always want the maximum result for the least amount of effort.
No effort. Yep.
No effort, you know.
Yeah. We want all the fruit and not the labor.
Of course. You know.
Yeah, it's interesting. One topic that screws people up a lot. So I'm writing a book called Hell Has an Exit book. It's actually almost done.
Amazing.
And it's basically like a 140-page book, just breaking down like what people struggle with. And one of the chapters is called the God thing. The God thing is one of the things that some people, they just can't get over it. They just don't have a relationship. They just don't think that it's important. How do you, like, you know, explain that to people, or how important was it to you, or how did you get into that?
Well, I remember young, like, I was in church. I used to go to church. I was part of some private schools that I used to go to church and stuff like that. But I remember on 595, I was driving and I was going to get something somewhere. And I remember that my relationship with God, I hated God. I said, I hate God, because if God was so real and so pure and so good, I wouldn't be where I am today, you know? And I hear a lot of people struggle with it a lot of times. Yeah. And I believe personally, it doesn't matter what your thought process is just trusting someone else's, you know, that's been there before. Like, the easy part is like, first thing you do in the morning, please keep me sober today. At nighttime, thank you, God, for keeping me sober. That's the most simple prayer ever. I don't care if you want to change the word God. You don't even believe in it. It doesn't matter. Just the action and doing it. Yeah,
it's like a lot of people get hung up on the God word, and it's like, if I said positive energy, would that make sense?
Correct.
It's the same thing, you know. It's like
orderly direction, however you want to think of it.
I used to always be like, oh, I don't believe in God, like, or especially didn't believe in the devil. Like, someone was like, oh, the devil's gonna get you. I'm like, that's so crazy. But if someone said that there's negative energy and there's negative things and there's negative people, stay away from that, I'd be like, okay. And now the God and the devil doesn't seem so weird to me, you know, because if I just think of it as like negative energy and positive energy, it all makes sense. And it's like, I used to go to things and find ways for it not to make sense, and find ways for it not to benefit me. Like, I'd go to church and be like, this is fucking retarded. And then like eventually you could practice open-mindedness, and I would say, I'm going to go and try to see if I could get one thing out of it. And instead of being like, oh, that story isn't real, I would be like, well, that's a good message in that shit. You know what I mean?
And I believe just
And
like,
it's like, bro, I could watch a Disney movie and be like, dude, I watched Kung Fu Panda. Incredible.
of course.
Yeah.
It's just crazy how the whole mind changes. And I remember even early on, like the hardest thing for me to do was sit still. I couldn't sit still for the love of God. And 1 whole hour of sitting still somewhere was just hard.
I need to get back into it.
What, the part of just sitting
Like
there?
meditation, bro. When I had 5 years clean, I was reading The Power of Now. I was going to yoga. I was meditating every single day. Like I still pray, but I was praying like all the time. And like, when you first start meditating, like, you do 3 minutes, you think you keep looking at the time, like there's no way it's only, you just like your brain just can't turn off. And then you keep doing it and you keep doing it. It's just like push-ups or pull-ups or anything else. You get better at it. And it's like, man, there was a time where I would do 15-minute meditation, 10-minute meditation, and the buzzer would go off. And I'm like, oh, wow, that was fast.
Yeah, and I've been going to this meditation meeting every Friday. And sometimes I miss it if I want to sleep in a little bit. But that wasn't the case early on. I didn't care if I want to sleep in. My buddy used to wake me up. I was even going to the 6 a.m. meeting for a long time, And I wake up and I would just, why is he here? Why am I going to this meeting? But I just kept going no matter what. I went no matter what. Didn't matter how hard it was to go. It was super hard to go for a long time. You say, we only focus on doing things that are really, really hard. It was really, really hard for me to go for a long time, but I went anyways. I saw people like you. I saw other people living a life beyond their wildest dreams,
Yeah. And it's like you see, like my one friend was like, why are all you guys so successful? And I was like, bro, when you do something so hard, you can just apply it to anything, bro. It's like, dude, what we learn in the program, we learn to take direction. We learn to persevere. We learn to keep coming. We learn to show up early and stay late. And we learn to keep a good attitude. I was talking to my friend the other day, and he was telling me that he has a son who's in sports. And he says, the only thing that I get upset about my kid when he's playing sports is the 2 things he can control, attitude and effort. And if his attitude is good and his effort was on point, he can't do no wrong. I'm trying to teach adults that. You know what I mean?
Hard,
you know?
And it's crazy.
Some people have such a bad attitude.
Such a bad attitude.
So
My
negative.
sponsor, he just got another sponsor, and I'm happy that he got another sponsor. If he's listening to it, it's fine, because like I believe we try so hard to help people because we know how hopeless and how much help we needed, and sometimes it could be almost enabling. But I don't know, for some reason, when I started getting months and years, I don't know, I just had a good attitude. Everything I have in my life is because I have a good attitude and I apply a large amount of effort in everything I do. The maximum effort in everything. Doesn't matter. We don't get tired. Like Kevin says, your buddy, Kevin. I remember texting you in 18. I texted you a picture and you're like, yeah, that's my buddy. It's crazy like the people God puts in your life. Like just by staying sober and doing the right thing.
What else is going on?
Just super, super excited to live, Like I said, my sister was able to get 30 days. She's all locked in, and she texted me last night because she got my friend as a sponsor, and I help all these girls, guys, and I don't go ahead and mix into the program, like the relationships. My girl's not in the program. It's like my first sponsor, he was a super guy from New York. He would always say, 2 sickies never make a welly. The reason for that is just like I help these girls, and it's like I'm able to have a lot of girlfriends, like as my friends, that I only want the best for them. So my dear friend Christy was able to go ahead and sponsor my sister. And then
cool.
And I was like, how cool is that?
What's so funny? I went to the gun range on Sunday, and I ran into Dana G, Tall Dana.
Tall Dana. I have to see her photo.
I'll send you a picture, but I ran into her. I probably haven't seen her in like a year. And like every time I see her, it's just like flashbacks because she's been on the show before, but like we used together. And like she was talking to me for a while, and we were just talking because we're going to the spiritual retreat on Thursday. And my friend came up to me after, and I was like, yeah, bro, me and that girl used to smoke crack together. And it's just like, it's crazy, bro. It's like, growing up where you used, and she's clean 12 years.
Wow.
12 years. So it's like, when I share my story, it like doesn't feel real, or like I do it so many times, I don't have a lot of emotion to it. But when you run into people you used to use with.
Flashbacks.
Yeah, man, it's just like gratitude.
Super gratitude, and it's just like, and then she was texting me, she has this other lady that's my dear friend, the sweetest older lady ever, always giving everyone little gifts, little cards, the smallest little thing just to make these newcomers feel welcome. And she's like, I asked her to be my sponsor. I'm like, well, did you tell your sponsor that you're leaving her? She's like, oh, well, I talked to my other sponsor, she co-sponsor. I'm like, listen, just pick one sponsor. I'm like, talked, and then she's like texting me these paragraphs. I'm like, just talk to your sponsor.
Yeah,
I can't be your sponsor, just to, be here and just be live. Like I remember when I walked in your door, I instantly got goosebumps. Like to just be present, and like have a life like this today is just, it's extraordinary, like, and I'm not talking about on all the material, just inside, internally, I'm excited to wake up, from a guy that used to hate to wake up, wouldn't leave bed. I remember 4th of July, I'm sitting there, all the fireworks are going off. I'm in bed. I'm depressed. I hate life.
I was just watching this Instagram thing, and this guy was talking to like these two people over the phone. And he was like, let me tell you something. If I gave you, $5 million, would you be happy? He was like, oh, fuck yeah. And he's like, could anything ruin your day? If you got $5 million today, could anything, you've heard this? And he's like, could anything ruin it? And the guy was like, no, bro, if I got $5 million, like, how could my day get ruined? And then he was like, what if I gave you $15 million? He was like, yeah, bro. Like, he's like, you would be happy all day? He was like, all day. Of course. And then I was like, okay, what if I gave you $15 million, but you couldn't wake up tomorrow? He's like, no way. And he was like, so you're saying that waking up, just being able to wake up is more valuable than $15 million. So why aren't you just walking around happy that you get to wake up? And it's like little things like that. It's like, man, we get so sidetracked with life. And like me watching it, I was like, damn, that's crazy. Cause like there are things that I let ruin my day all the time. There are things that piss me off and things don't go my way. And, I get mad at fucking insurance companies or fucking my car. It's like, dude, we get to wake up tomorrow.
Correct, with a new chance, new opportunity, new way to go ahead and
just the chance to even ruin a day. You know what I mean?
It's amazing. Like, it's just, I'm filled with gratitude, just to go ahead and just be alive and be present. And I just never forget. I believe that's the most important thing. My first sponsor used to always tell me, never forget that last time you used, and that pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization, and always remember, and just like with anything, it's like, it's just once we start, we cannot stop. It's just the phenomenon of craving. Like I said, even with the vape, I stopped for 1 year. It's like anything, I have that in me, and it's just, but we go ahead and we apply that effort, or that attitude to what we want in life. There's no telling where you're going to end up as long as you don't pick up no matter what, When
I first got clean, I had this issue because I was like, well, am I just addicted to meetings? Because I would hear people say things like, I need to go to a meeting every day or I don't feel fine. And I'd be like, bro, that's kind of crazy. It seems like you're just replacing one addiction for the other. In the beginning, you need to move the pendulum as hard and fast as you can and then find balance. You need to go as hard as you can, build the foundation 2, 3, 4 years, and then you can find a little bit of balance. But for me, it's like an addiction ruins your family life, ruins your spirit, and destroys your finances and where you live. To me, it's like that's an addiction. Does recovery do that? No. Does working out do that? No. Am I a workaholic? No. You're a workaholic if you're telling your family you're going to be somewhere on Thanksgiving and you're not. Correct. You're a workaholic if you're overworking and not eating for 3 days. You know what I mean? Like that would be an addiction. But, man, if you love to freaking golf or you love to fucking scuba dive or if you love to work and that's just where you feel good at, that's what you want to do with your life. If you become obsessive and compulsive to achieve your dreams, like there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it. I remember probably last week, I was literally laying in bed and just how fast time goes. Like staying sober, like you're like 6 years, 6 years is like, I couldn't even get 6 months, let alone 6 years, and it's like, I was laying in bed and I was like cross-referencing from where I was living across the street when I can see from my home from the condo and my last day where I was living and just how fast life goes. It's like when we're out there using and all that stuff, like we don't even realize how fast life goes. There's pretty much 4 sets to the year, 90, 90, 90. And then we already have a whole nother year. My dad just turned 60 and it's just like, I just want to live. For so long, I wanted to die. And now all I want to do is live, give back, and just go ahead and wake up and go ahead and see what God has in store for me.
Well, hey, man, I want to appreciate you coming on the show. Love you very much. It's good to see you, bro. It's so cool to see you. Like, when I see your posts, I'm just like, wow, it inspires me, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Because there's so many people that, like, don't take the suggestions and pass away, man. Like, man, we've been to so many funerals and seen so many people die smarter than us. You know what I mean? Better people than us,
No, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm so proud of you. You always lead by example. Every time I see you on and just doing what you're doing, it's just like, there he is.
Hell yeah.
And we got to stay in the middle, and that's what we do, and that's why we're here.
Hey, thank you, bro.
Thank you, Bryan. Appreciate you.
This show is not affiliated with any specific 12-step program. If you or a loved one is struggling with an addiction, please find a local 12-step meeting. If you believe you may need detox or drug treatment of any kind, please call 833-999-1877 to speak to a specialist. This show is sponsored by United Recovery Project, a state-of-the-art drug and alcohol rehab facility. You can visit our website at unitedrecoveryproject.com.